Hi, welcome to the Conscious Spirit podcast. Mari-Lyn and I did this podcast about a year ago. We're bringing it back because it's pretty awesome. We asked our viewers to send in questions of the paranormal or spiritual, whatever you wanted, and we would answer them. And that's what we've done. We decided this time to break it up into 2 videos because it was really long. This is part 2. Hope you enjoy it.
Hey! We're back and full of energy now.
Yes.
So, woo-wee. Okay. Oh, someone is excited about our Q&As.
Thank you, Carla.
We do enjoy them. This one, I have to say, we had to take that break, and it's already been like an hour and something, over an hour, and then we're doing more, so we had to take a break. I think I already said that. But so maybe I'm a little dizzy now. But amazing questions. Amazing.
Yeah, really.
So amazing.
Really amazing.
And some
really
of them
thoughtful.
really had me thinking and like digging back and talking to my guides.
Yeah.
And like because we don't know everything.
No.
It would be nice to. No, I don't think it would actually.
No.
But
I don't want to know.
But we like being curious too. So these are really things that some of these questions we're really going to be like chewing on for a while. Yeah.
I agree.
So, all right, Carla.
All right. Ooh, how does one get spirit guides? Do they randomly appear to you, or do they slowly try to get your attention? How can you tell they are your guides and not another spirit tricking you?
Ooh, all great questions. You come in with them. So you actually make those, before you come in, you're like, hey, will you be my guide? Okay, shake hands, whatever, like you're contracted for it. You typically have at least one main guide who is with you your entire incarnation. You might have more that are, and then you have some that come in and out of your life here and there. But everyone has them, and yeah. So.
Yep.
Do
Do they randomly appear?
they randomly appear to you, or do they slowly try to get your attention? Well, kind of both, and neither.
Exactly. Well,
That's
said.
one of those all and nothing, or all
Yes.
or not, or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Randomly appear, I'm going to say no.
Right.
They don't randomly appear.
Nothing is random.
Although it can feel,
Yes, it can.
it can feel very random.
Yep.
But they appear
I think we kind of talked about this
when
earlier.
we're ready
Yes.
to see them.
When we're ready to see them. And then even with that, they sort of slowly, I think we talked about it earlier, they'll kind of come in and they're a little, they might be a little fuzzy at first, or they might come in as just sort of energy, or maybe you just feel them. You don't see them at all, or whatever. I know when we teach getting to know your guides, our first step is always get to know their feeling, get to know their vibration.
How it feels.
Yeah.
Yep. Because that is something you can always trust.
Always.
You can always trust that feeling.
Yes.
And I'm going to say that goes right along with how can you tell they're your guides and not another spirit tricking you?
They are of very high vibration, and it's love, and that's what you will feel. You will feel love. You will not feel that love from any other spirit. It feels love right in your heart space. It's not from out here at all. So that's one thing with spirits, with earthies, whatever you're dealing with, the energy is outside of you. Your guides, you feel it inside of you.
Inside, yeah.
Thanks, Fred.
Yep.
You just gave me that one.
Yep.
Yep. So that's how you know.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Do our loved ones visit us years after passing? Also, what are some ways in which they show up? My dad passed 10 years ago. I dream about him. That's one way.
That's one way.
Maybe 4 to 5 times a year. I remember when he passed, he used to visit us often. We associated him with a very unique incense smell. Yep, that's another way.
one. That's a powerful one.
We smelled it in the night he passed, a few other times in the house, and one time at the cemetery where he was buried, which is in a different state to where he passed. Interesting. But it was probably 8 years since the last time I sensed him, so I wonder if my dad is actually in my dreams or if it is just a replay of a core memory. I wish he would show up in smell again.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
So, this is where my opinion can differ with other people's opinions. So, if you don't like what I say, just go, oh, okay, yeah, there's someone else that has a different opinion. So, just throw it away. Different spirits do... So, this is about them coming to you years after they passed. What I have experienced the most of is once they reincarnate, the life that they had before is kind of the life they had before. And though their higher self is still in spirit and they could still kind of come around, it's not the same. It's not that same conscious. So I will experience, the way I experience that is if they excuse me, if they have not reincarnated, they will come and you feel them. You know that's them. You might get that smell or whatever, and it's them. Once they reincarnate, the way they come to you is their higher self, and it's a different vibration, and it's a different feel, and you don't feel that same necessarily connection with them. However, they will come in your dreams more, just like they were in life. So, yeah, that's a really...
I think that different feeling that you were just talking about, when that feeling changes, because I know exactly what that is, I had to change my perspective.
Yes.
I had to change my expectations. I had to change how I was willing to accept.
Yes.
And once you can allow yourself to accept that spirit the way that it's coming to you, it's just as fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Yeah, and sometimes, they have their path too, and they have things that they need to heal, they need to learn from, etc. So once that healing piece is done between you and that person, if from where they're concerned, sometimes they stop coming around, because what's for your highest good is to stop relying on that connection, or like sometimes it's not for your highest good to stay connected to that person who has crossed over. Sometimes it really isn't.
Sometimes it isn't, and that can be really hard to understand. I know
it's hard to hear,
but it is true. But when he comes to your dreams, that's not your imagination.
No, not at all.
No, he is there.
Okay. And the smell, the smell, that's a huge one.
Oh, that is huge.
Yeah.
Now, I am going to say I have experienced my grandfather through the smell of cigarette smoke. Let's see. And that was probably, I've been married 30. I'm going to say he passed probably 35 years ago. And it was within the past year that he came to me. So that smell, when you least expect it, it will have meaning to it. There will be a message behind it So I wouldn't be surprised if
And
you
that
get that again.
at that point, that many years later, whether he has incarnated or not again, which most likely he has in that much time, there was something that he needed to finish or talk about or mess or something with Mari-Lyn that many years later, and that's when they come in, and it is pretty wonderful. Yeah,
Very, very wonderful.
okay.
Oh my gosh, I think we just answered her next question.
Oh,
This question connects to my last. I believe in reincarnation. So if my dad has moved on to a new human life, would I still be getting visits from him? Even though in 3D he wouldn't be my dad anymore, but another human or animal being with a different life. I would love to hear your thoughts, beliefs, and maybe your guide's explanation. Thank you so much for dedicating your time to us.
Yeah.
So I do believe you
Yeah.
just answered her third
Yes.
question. Please,
And-
are you psychic, Pam?
I don't know. People say I am, but I don't know. So what is really being reiterated?
Okay.
Woo, there's a word to me right now is that it's about the spirit. We take regret with us. That's what we take with us, and that's what we're trying to heal. Even after we cross over and we get healed, it's the regret, because the regret is where the lessons are. So like Mari-Lyn, they will come back to you as those things need to be healed. Now, if there's something within you that there's some regret there, and you are just now deciding that you're going to look at that, or right now it's time to be healed or something, they will come in at that time too. But just, it's not there. There's typically a purpose to them being there. There's a purpose. So you could go years without any contact because there's not a purpose to that. And you're meant to be here living this 3D life, not connected constantly to that person in spirit. So they back off so you can live your life. And maybe having that sorrow and learning about death, and this person is gone, sort of gone from 3D, but maybe that's your lesson that you have to learn, so they have to stay away. So there's always a reason, and it's always for your highest good. Always for your highest good, to remember that. Yeah.
Always. So fabulous. So I noticed during that conversation, our light was fluctuating. And I'm kind of curious as to why.
I don't know.
I don't know. Could be the sun moving around. I don't know. Just had
Could
to
be
throw that out
spirits
there.
in there too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Carla.
Yes.
That's great questions.
Oh. Okay, Billy Dre. Can people share a primary spirit guide? Yep.
Yet.
And typically, like if they're ascended masters, they will have like thousands or millions even. I don't even know how many each of them can have. Fred's going,
My brain can't.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, like and they can be everywhere at the same time. So you're never bothering them or anything. But yes.
Yep.
Yes.
We do.
We do. Can guys be very non-human? They can be animals, they can be fairies, they can be angels, they can be spirits of the earth. We have some of those.
Yeah.
I have some.
Yeah.
Yeah. My paranormal team, my light guardians, they've never had a human life here. So yeah, if that's what you're asking, if that's where I went with that question. So that was that question.
Yep. My healing team has never had a human life.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, as in a golem. Okay. Creature,
Smeagol? I don't
creature that was very peaceful and didn't seem to be threatening in a way. Oh, so you had like one of these come to, like that type of I would say okay, so what's coming now is those are creatures of the earth. Those are spirits. I should say spirit, not creatures. Those are
Spirits
spirits
of the earth.
Of the earth. And absolutely, they can be guides. Typically, they're not your main guide. They're not a guide that's going to be with you your whole life. They will come in and out as needed. And when you need them, that's usually more typical with that. And
Yeah. Of the earth.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ethics.
Good question.
Good question.
And we touched on this a little bit
Yes,
earlier.
because ethics are at the heart of what we do. What are the ethics of helping? For example, we've seen people who have been very unhealthy attachments to the spirits in their location, and they want to keep the spirits there to study or monetary gain. Not okay. In these instances, you guys can't help cross over, but if in this location spirits want to cross over, do their wishes trump the earthly property owners? Yes.
Yes, they do.
We have to be invited by someone. We have to be at either the spirit can ask us or the person who owns the property has to ask us. It's like the same thing as like just you can't just walk into anybody's home.
Right? It's like if you're in a hotel and you're walking down a hallway and all the hotel room doors are open, you're not going to just go start walking into people's
Right. Well, you
rooms.
might not, but you know, I might. Start shuffling through their stuff.
I'm not going to, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. But it's the same.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same thing
Yes.
of having to be invited
Yes.
in.
And now, sorry.
But yes, the spirit always trumps. Always. 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 Always.
And when you are psychic, medium, have whatever abilities, you're a healer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they are drawn to you because you're brighter and you sort of have this beacon around you. So they will come. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. On another example for the Hinsdale house, okay, the land has indigenous attachments, a very strong tribal presence. It's separate from the land indigenous attachments and very strong tribal presence. Oh, whoops. I read the same thing twice. I'm learning how to read over here. The house is owned, helping the healing the spirit. Okay, so in that instance, so she's asking about, could you just go start healing the land? With not physically, you can't physically, because again, that's their property. If someone walks into my yard, I'd be like, excuse me, what are you doing here and what do you want?
Right.
Energetically, you have to ask permission. And there are ways to do that. You ask permission, and if you get the permission, then you can go forth and do it. And even with that, if you get energetic permission from whatever spirits are there, the land, whatever, and you don't get it from the people, there's only a certain amount that you can do. And Spirit's very good at, nope, this is your lane, you stay in it, we're going to work here and not here.
Right.
If you get everyone's approval, and that's, of course, the best. But yeah, so you can ask for, and that's with helping spirits too. So, yeah, there's asking for permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always have to have permission.
Yes, and that's even if you do a reading, anything. If someone comes in and we don't do relationship readings, but
No, we send those to Nan.
yes, we do because she's fabulous at them. But let's say someone comes in and they're really distraught. They have someone at work who's just, they just can't get along with them. What do we do, etc. You energetically can ask that person permission to just kind of look from the outside. You don't go in. You don't find out what their childhood was like. You don't find out anything other than what's sort of out in the open. And that's what you can read.
And that's only if you're given permission.
Yes. If you're not given permission, you back off and you just say, okay.
Yeah.
But also, if you're coming in because you have problems with this person, I'm going to be more focused on you anyway because you have some healing to be done.
Absolutely. Yep.
Anyway.
So,
did that
great question.
Go off there somewhere. What are your ideas on deity spirit guides? Ascended masters, or they even sometimes are called ancient ones.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-theists
Mm-hmm.
have many gods and goddesses
Mm-hmm.
they look to for help, and many people report having deities as guides in their practice. Yep.
Yeah,
I suppose
absolutely.
it's an extension of question 2, non-human guides. Well, but most of deities, etc., have had a human life
Mm-hmm.
in one form or another. It may not be what they are now being praised for or whatever, but they have had some sort of human life. Yes.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Actually,
But-
no.
But they're even like old, like Egyptian times.
Mm-hmm.
Horus, Ra, etc. Those are all beings that you can call in, and I don't know if they actually had human lives or not. I don't know if
I don't
that's as he's standing right here. Hey, Horus. So he's saying he has had a human life. He has had a human life. So yeah. Okay. Sorry. I got a little sidetracked there. All right. Did that seem to answer those questions, I think?
I think so. Billy Dre, great questions.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All
Clara.
right. Clara.
Aw, you're welcome. We love answering these.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've heard of the term spirit guides being used before, and I was wondering what exactly do they do? Are they human spirits? So we put these sort of together because they were very similar. So we might have already answered some of these questions, but we'll just... can they be non-human? Okay, we've already answered those. But what do they do? Okay, that's do you want to start?
That is a big one. They help us see things with more clarity,
Okay.
things in our life. They help us look inward to our own wounding and our own traumas, and
All because what we want to accomplish in this life is their top priority
yeah,
to help us get there. Okay.
and
And they do it by those things.
They are guiding us to live our best life, being our best selves, for our highest good and for the highest good of everyone that we come into contact with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their total support system.
Total.
Total. It's amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they will also, they're funny. They'll make you laugh when you need to laugh.
They'll hold you when you need to cry.
Yep. Yeah.
And whether they are ascended masters, whether they are animals, whether they are a person we knew in life that has crossed over, those can also be guides. They don't typically last your entire lifetime.
Correct.
They're more coming in for like certain lessons and such, but they sure can be.
Yeah. My father was one of my guides for about 5 years. I think I've mentioned that before. And he was an amazing guide. But his purpose coming to me was for me to really come into my gifting and to have confidence in that. And before that, I think I've talked about this before, but I kept saying, yeah, I don't want to work with those spirits. That's not me. I'm not going to work with those mean thing, whatever. And it was my dad that came in, and he's standing behind me. Sorry. I cry every time. Whew. And his purpose was to, that is what I'm supposed to do here, is work with those. And so his purpose was to really to kind of get me there. And he has. So I don't see him nearly as much anymore.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, I know that feeling, and it's his vibration. I can feel it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, she knows him well too,
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah, it's fabulous.
yeah.
One more thing I wanted to say on spirit guides.
Mm-hmm.
Animals can be a very powerful spirit guide. One of my spirit guides is a gorilla. I have come here to master humility, and this gorilla comes to me when I need him to take my ego out of the picture. He removes it. He puts it in the corner and guards it so I can't take it back.
That big old hand just comes down and like whoop.
It's amazing. And he has been a huge influence in my spiritual journey. So
Beautiful.
yes.
Okay.
All right. I think we're this one.
Okay. I've also heard that human spirits can send signs, but can pets and animals do the same? Yes. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I had a pet pigeon that passed away about 10 years ago, and I recently noticed that street pigeons, tend to
That's
hover,
sweet.
follow me, regardless if I'm close or far from home. Could this be a coincidence? There's no coincidences.
No coincidence.
If you people keep saying coincidence, I'm gonna freak out.
No coincidence. So, Clara, look up
Pigeon totem.
Pigeon Totem.
Or pigeon spirit guide. Either way, find a site that
Yeah.
feels good for you when you look up.
Yes, because there are so many.
Yeah. Some are really good, some aren't.
Yeah, you'll find one.
Yeah.
That speaks to you.
Yeah.
And pretty sure there's going to be a message in there for you.
Absolutely.
So, good question.
Is it possible for your abilities to fade or go away completely? Fade, yes. Go away completely, no.
Unless they're taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people who are not very ethical, and they can be
Removed, stripped of.
yeah, until you learn your lesson, until you heal, and then they can come back.
Yeah.
But the fading, sure, because it's like any muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
But not lose it completely, but it fades.
Yeah. It's like, you play the piano. If you don't practice,
Yeah.
you're not going to be very good
Yeah,
at it.
it's gonna be a little clunky. Yes. So, I believe it was Pam that mentioned she has had students before. Has Mari-Lyn had any as well?
Yes, I have.
Is there a special process for either of you of how you go about choosing them? Yes, for me. Well, I mean, for you too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is, for me, there has to be a mutual, lost my word.
Yes. Something, a fair energy exchange. And that there's a fair energy exchange that there, because I've been doing this for a long time. And one thing I know is when I first started teaching, I thought I could teach everybody. Like, I just thought everybody has abilities and I can teach you all. And I ended up just hating it because people don't always want to put in the work. They don't want to do what's necessary. Healing is a huge part of developing the way we do it.
Yes. Huge.
Huge. And so if you're not willing, it's just not going to happen. Or they don't respect the teacher's time and energy. They don't practice. They don't, so yeah, there has to be a fair energy exchange. We have to feel like that you want to be there, that you're doing the work, etc. So
A mutual appreciation for the process.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes.
That is my basis.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
And yeah. So
Yep.
all right. Let's see. People on the autism spectrum are more open and sensitive. Yes, they are. Is that true for people with other mental conditions like schizophrenia? Oh, especially schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And what's sad there is
It's misdiagnosed.
it's misdiagnosed.
so often.
Yeah. And it's sad. Yeah. Or there's a little bit of both there. Maybe they do have a mental disorder and they have abilities. But, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. Stories of psych nurses who used to have patients, they could deceased.
Yeah.
So she said, I guess it's not just reading it for, there are people, sorry, I think I keep doing that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Psych nurses who used to have patients that could see deceased residents, even though the patients themselves sometimes weren't always 100% aware of their environment or the hospital's past residents. Yes.
Yep.
So, and then just thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Clara. Some great,
Yes.
great questions.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
Tracy Hugh.
okay.
Hey, Tracy. Tracy's one that comments a lot, so I feel like we already know you. Okay.
All right. I had asked about reclaiming soul pieces. In your experience, what is the best way to begin that healing? I am reading an interesting book, and in it she lays out a case for having a guardian spirit that is only for you and a fluctuating spirit guide for the lesson you need to learn. Once learned, they move on to someone else and a new spirit guide comes in. The author likened spirit guides to teachers. Has this been your experience? How can we learn to trust our intuition?
Her perception on spirit guides is not exactly mine, but that's okay. She can have a different opinion on that. I'm fully fine with that. Yes, absolutely. They're teachers, they're healers, they're whatever you need them to be for your highest good, that's the way they're going to be. As far as soul pieces, anytime you heal old wounding, whether you're going to, talk therapy, energy healing, meditations, there are all sorts of ways when that open wound, that programming from childhood, the trauma, etc., and you start healing that, your soul pieces do come back. They in energy healings that we do, there are times when that is specifically what we're doing. We're going in to get those soul pieces, but if you're not ready to heal it, it's not going to
happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's really about healing. They will come back at the time of healing. I know you have. So again, we talked about it, but I did guided meditations for a lot of years, and they're not just guided meditations. They are they are so much more. They help you develop. They help you heal. They are shamanic journeys. They are they'll take you past lives. They're healing. I mean, it's everything all in one. Fred has created them, and I'm fortunate enough to be the conduit, the guide for that. So,
and it's fabulous.
So, soul pieces come back when you're ready to have them back, and when you heal that wounding, and they won't come back until you're ready.
Yep.
So, great questions. Thank you.
It is.
Oh, and how do you learn to trust your intuition? When you find out, tell me. Yeah. But you do get more trust as you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one way is to love yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you reach a certain level of self-love, you trust your intuition beyond anything, I think.
Yeah.
At least that's been my experience.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Healing and self-love opens up the gateway to so many possibilities. And trust is definitely one of those.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. Thank you.
Thank you. I was listening.
It's funny what happens when we listen.
Yeah. You know, sometimes they remind me, it's kind of like, you know, they're taking my necklace and they're pulling me like, hey, listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say one more thing about the spirit guide. And coming, once you learn the lesson, they move on. I have had an experience where a spirit guide has come to me to show me a lesson that I need to learn. But it was not that spirit guide that helped me through the lesson.
And you can always call them in anytime you want.
Always. I mean, I could have asked them to stay.
Right. No, I'm just with her question.
Yeah.
They don't just like it's never not like you won't ever see them again or anything.
They don't peace out.
No. And you have some spirit guide like I know with when like Athena comes forward. Oh, I'm going to a past life. I'm doing some work in some past life. So you have sometimes you have spirit guides that they're really sort of geared towards certain things. And I don't see her all the time, but she hasn't gone. I can call her in. Well, she's here right now because I said something about her. Hey, sister. But so it works that way too.
Yep. So thank you, Tracy.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, Rosewater Moon. Okay.
Shattered. Okay, you mentioned seeing pieces of shattered soul in the Sam and Colby Lizzie Borden reaction video. Are those pieces able to be reunited? Absolutely.
Yes.
For example, for a living person, would energy healing help those pieces come back? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But also what we talked about.
Yeah.
The healing.
Yeah.
And now sometimes what I'm being reminded of, thank you, Fred, is sometimes, and it's not all the time, but you can go through a soul retrieval, they call it, and whether that's from a shaman or a multidimensional energy healer, etc. Sometimes getting that soul piece back first is the foundation for then doing more healing on it. But it's still not going to come back unless you're ready.
Yeah, that's not the norm. That is definitely not normally what happens, but sometimes.
Yeah. So, okay.
So,
thank you.
Great questions.
All right. Carissa.
Yeah. Oh, okay. More healing questions.
Okay. Does shadow work have the same effect as Reiki energy healing? Those are two different things. Shadow work is that's a term that's used like we use the word healing, we use the word wounding, we'll use wounding and trauma, that's shadow work. So just to let you know that those are the verbiage that we use. So anytime you're doing your healing, you're working on your shadow and you're healing that wound and trauma. Energy healing can always help that. Yeah. Energy work can always help that, whether it's someone who does Reiki or like us, the multidimensional energy healing, which we are Reiki masters as well. We just don't do Reiki.
We don't,
So Reiki is really a hugely broad term, and it just means energy healing. Yeah, but
it is kind of in a box.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's So.
Or is energy healing the purest form one can have done to truly heal those traumas and put those scattered pieces back together? I think it's a beautiful way of doing it. It's not the only way. Again, if you're healing, you're going to get those pieces back. Even if you're in talk therapy, you've never in your life heard of energy healing. We prefer energy healing, so that's our preferred way.
I gotta say, energy healing, in addition to other types of healing,
Absolutely.
um,
Because we're not instead of. It's
Oh,
in addition to.
I think it's in addition to, or other things are in addition to us, maybe.
Correct. A lot of things all work together.
Yeah, they work together because things are so multifaceted. We're not just one dimensional.
Right.
So, yeah, I'd like to say energy healing is, the purest way, the best way, the only way. But
We'd be lying.
we're just, I like to say, I'm going to say right now,
Yes.
we could be the icing on the cake.
I like cake and I like icing, so I'll take that.
I don't know. Well, just keep over.
But we're gonna let this run through her because she's
Something's
yeah.
got to go. Okay.
Great question. How can you tell when you're actually meditating?
Ooh.
Yeah. As opposed to, so there's a whole story here. It's a beautiful story. I'm not going to read it because I think this was actually emailed to us, so I don't want to, it's a little personal. So meditating versus a shamanic journey versus astral projection. That those are all dreaming. That was in here too. So
okay.
those are all when you're not even that, when you're communing with spirit and you're in receiving mode. It's all about receiving.
Yes.
That's how you know it's
Yes.
meditation, whether that's guided meditation. What's the one where you sit there and you try to not think of anything?
Mindfulness.
Yes, that one that I can't do. I try. Okay, I
Right.
do try it, but then my guides are like, "Whoa, she's listening. She's not talking." And they come and they just start feeding me information. So
Yeah.
it's no bueno for me.
Yeah, I think that was beautifully put. When we're communing and in receiving mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to say something about this, and then
Okay.
she said was she was dreaming possibly, but she was traveling. What she was imagining was that she was traveling through the birth canal, so she re-experienced her birth. The birth experience is extremely traumatizing. So what I can say, and this has happened. I've had this, I've witnessed this happening to people. Not just, I've given birth myself, but and been birthed myself. So, but I'm talking about in meditation and so forth, and that's a form of retrieving a soul piece. There was some trauma there. There was some trauma when it happened to you when you were, I think in this thing you said you were dreaming or you were in bed, whatever, sleeping, and there was this really high vibration and happening. You were experiencing that, and you needed, for whatever reason, your soul needed to go back and re-experience that to change the way you thought about it. Is what I'm getting. So what happens sometimes is in past life regression, even in present life regression, we will go back to a situation. You go to that traumatic experience, and what you're asked to do is to change the experience to something else. Change that energy to something. So instead of, let's say you got beat up, physically beat up, we take you back to that situation, and this time you stand up and you say, no, that's not happening. that person stops, whatever it is, you change the situation. So then that's similar to a soul piece recovery. And then as you move forward, you still have work to do on that wounding, but it's not as triggering anymore because you healed that part. I hope that made sense. Did that make sense?
It made sense to me.
Okay. So that's what I think you did. Is you went back
and it's beautiful.
Yes, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carissa.
Wonderful. So I got a little message from my gorilla that little laughing episode I had was because he took my ego out because I was starting to get a little ego-y there about the whole energy thing.
I love him.
I do too. And yes, he is a great, big, monstrous gorilla.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. These next questions, these are about animals. So we'll see if we've already. Alexa. Yes.
All right.
Could you provide any information on what sleep paralysis is? Yes. And if there are any spiritual connections with this? Yes, yes, yes. What I believe is different than what like a medical doctor will tell you, that there's some sort of glitch in your brain or something. And that could happen. I would think. I'm
sure.
We've said this before. We don't rule anything out because nothing is 100% and we get proven wrong. So all things can exist at the same time.
Yes.
In the metaphysical world, sleep paralysis is your physical body, your deva, wakes up before your light body is back in your body. So when we fall asleep, our light body goes, woohoo, jumps out and it's off traveling. And so in the metaphysical sense, your body wakes up for whatever reason. Maybe there was a knock at the door or something happened and your light body didn't get back quick enough. And there's that moment of panic and fear and you can't move. And you can't move because your light body's not back in there yet to get you to move. So hopefully that answered that question. It is very scary and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, and you went to say the doctors believe that the mind playing tricks on you. Yeah, they'll tell you that. Just poo-poo that. So, do you believe in God? Yes. In your experience, is God real? Yes. Have you ever communicated with God? We do all the time.
Yeah.
So God is everywhere and everything. So
yeah, the word God has created so many connotations for people.
like some old man in the sky in a big chair,
Yeah.
like judging us.
When we say spirit, source, those types of words, universe, universal energy, we're talking about God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that I use the term spirit is because that feels more encompassing of absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So that's why we use the word spirit, but it's for us that's really interchangeable, those words, but not for everyone.
Not for everyone.
Not for everyone
at all.
So that's why we're careful with the words.
Ooh, a complex question.
Okay.
What happens when we die?
Oh, well, so the short version, which we've actually kind of talked about a little bit today. Do you want to start that or do you want me to?
No, go ahead.
So our light body leaves our deva. We do tend to hang out for like a week or so, in sort of in close to the third dimension, and if the funeral happens in that time, we go to our funeral. We kind of check on people. We're kind of getting our bearings. We know we're gone because our spirit guides, our family and everything, who are in spirit come and you're talked to and everything. And then from there you go up, and when I say up, it's really not up, but that's the way our brain sees it. You go through a time of healing. They cocoon you and there's a lot of trauma of being in a physical body, and some lives are more traumatic than others, but either way, it doesn't matter. You go through a cocooning and you go through a healing to restore you to that high vibrational, loving being that you are in spirit, and then you go through a life review. So you have to go through every minute that you were here, and you have to go through it. And even the icky stuff, like when you may have screamed, like you got triggered or something, and you screamed at someone, or you were mean to them, you feel that. And so those are all lessons. And so it's all about the lessons that you learned, that you didn't learn, the karma, the contract, blah, 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 blah. So you go through that.
And that all happens in spirit time.
Yes. Yeah.
Not 3D
Right.
Earth
Right.
human time.
Yes. So if you have a loved one who crosses over and you're like, why haven't they come in? Give it like 4 to 6 months, and then, so that's what happens. And then, that's what happens when you die.
Yeah.
That's our belief. If that's not your belief, we're totally fine with that. And we know that other people have different belief systems.
Absolutely.
And it's okay by us.
Can you communicate with animals? Yes, whether alive or passed over. If so, how? Animals don't speak English, so do they give you feelings to communicate with you rather than words? Or can they show you images in your mind? Do you have any stories to share about communicating with animals?
That's the same as communicating with people who in life spoke a different language than us. Spirit just translates. I don't know how else to. There's just a translation that happens. Yeah.
If you ever, it's kind of like Star Trek. Star Trek has all these different species, but they all understand each other because there's a universal translator. That's how it is.
Yep.
Universal translator.
Yep. Now, I have just a quick story on that. So Nan, who we've talked about, she speaks 3 languages. And I remember asking her one time, how do you get that information? Like, how is it coming to you? In what language? Is it the language you were born into? Is it the language that you learned as you were growing up, or in English? Because English is her 3rd language. And and she was very thoughtful about it. She went, it just is. It just comes to me. And that's exactly what happens in these situations too.
Yep.
It just translates and you understand it. So it doesn't really come in words. It's like talking to angels. Angels have their own beautiful singing. It's not a language. There's no words or anything, but you can talk to them just fine because it's translating.
It's translated. I communicate with my cats. I always have. It's just knowing.
Yep.
It's just a knowing.
Yeah.
And we have a cat. Gosh, she's been gone now for probably 20 years. Every once in a while, she still comes and walks through the house. Usually, it's when I'm not present in life, when I don't tend to dissociate much, but when I'm kind of in that frame where I'm not in my body, I'm not really present.
Which we all do.
Yeah, and usually that's because I'm not dealing with some wounding. But that's usually when she'll come in.
Aw,
And
thanks, kitty.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm actually glad to say I have not seen her in a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you for that question. That was fun.
Do your loved ones who have passed away and crossed over visit us? Do they visit us frequently? We already kind of talked about that. So sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah.
It depends on what the learning is there. It's all about learning and healing. when they visit, do they stay for days or do they briefly visit for a few minutes? It's spirit time, and it's they sort of. So it's not like I have another like Star Trek when they don't like beam down and then they have to stay until they can get beamed back up. They're just sort of in and out.
Yeah. It's not like they come spend the whole weekend and
bring their luggage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. When you are both out in public, do you see people with family members who've passed away? I don't stay open when I'm out in public.
Yeah, I don't any longer.
Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah.
And I don't.
No. So there are a lot of reasons for that, but
my own sanity is one of the biggest
that's
ones.
the biggest reason. Yeah. So no. Every once in a while, usually it's when Mari-Lyn and I are together. If we're out somewhere, we'll be eating or something, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, hello. But we try, and we don't shut it down. We just tune it a little off.
Tune it off. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not off, but just not tuned in. And it's really for our sanity, and I don't want to know everyone else's stuff.
Yeah, me either.
Well,
yeah. How can you distinguish spirits from humans when looking at them? I don't see spirits like I see Pam
they're
sitting
not
here.
solid. It's not a solid person.
I've heard of people seeing them as solid. I don't know anybody that does, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I would look at their feet. Because they're in another dimension, so their feet are not gonna be like really on the ground.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they look like? Boy. Sometimes they look like the person.
Yeah. If they're earthies, they're going to represent that life that they were just in, that they haven't totally crossed over from. They're going to look like that.
Sometimes I just see them as energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even see them. Sometimes I just feel them.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And she's more clairvoyant than I am. I'm more claircognizant, which we've talked about. And so I have more of a sensing or that quick flash, and then I know. Mm-hmm. So, great questions.
So, yeah.
And
very
you're welcome
great.
for taking your questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for asking them.
Yes.
And then...
Roxana, we already
we talked about the photos and information from deceased pets. So, thanks again.
Thank you. Okay, Allison.
Okay,
last page. 1, 2, 3, 4 people, like 4 questions. All right. Do you believe everyone has psychic abilities? Yeah.
I believe we're born with them.
How do we get started on that journey? I would love to meet you both. Aw, thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Allison.
I believe we're all born with them, but it's not the path of all of us.
Exactly.
And everyone has a gut instinct, and that's a psychic ability.
It's true.
So everyone has it, but really if that's going to be a part of your life or not is you've already decided that before coming in.
Yep. If you are an adult and you are just realizing that you have abilities, there's a reason for that. You weren't ready for them.
Yes.
Prior.
And most of us really aren't until you're about 40. Just to let you know. And I know some of you are going, what? No, I'm 30. What are you talking about? I want to. Yes, but you have a lot more living to do. Not that you can't start then, but there's a process just through the years that we've been doing this and watching people. And in your 40s is really when they come in. Because you've healed, you've been through a lot, you've had a lot of life experience, and you've done the things you're supposed to do.
Yep.
So.
And how do we get started on that journey?
I always tell people start with guided meditations. Guided meditation, certainly my guided meditations. And
Which there are 4 on our channel, by the way.
Yes.
There are.
Find some that you like. I think we've talked about this before, but we'll do it again. Not today, we didn't. But sit up Don't lay down because you'll fall asleep. If you're wanting to, if you're doing the meditations to develop, this is for development. Sit up, feet on the ground, go through the grounding process. Most meditations start with getting you grounded. You know, find someone that you like to listen to. There are some voices out there that are just great. I'm sure I grate on some people's nerves too, but find one and go along with their meditation. If they use the word see or hear, and that's not the way you're getting, don't get frustrated or try not to. So maybe you don't see it, but you know it's there. That's the way your clairs work. That's the way your channels are working. Not everyone is clairvoyant. Not everyone is anything. Clairaudient, whatever. So just understand, just relax and allow the information, allow that energy to come to you the way your clairs work, the way your channels work, and start with guided meditation. That's the best way to start on that journey. And if you can heal at the same time, even better, because those two come together. Even if you don't want to heal, Spirit's going to start smacking you around a little bit because it's time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, they go together.
They do. And I want to add with the meditation, I mean, this isn't really an ad because Pam said they usually start with grounding, but really learn that grounding.
Yeah.
Really learn how to get
People
yourself
seem to
grounded.
toss that word around a lot. Oh, make sure you're grounded. Make sure you're grounded. Most people just kind of mean make sure you're present, you're paying attention. No, grounded is when your energy is grounded into the earth and you are solid and your channels open, they're more clear. There's really, when you get grounded, you know what grounded is.
Yeah.
Your energy is grounded.
Yeah. And it is a process to learn it. But
And then you will use it all the time.
all the time.
We ground ourselves constantly.
Yeah.
There's another one. Mina. Hi, Mina. About improving your psychic abilities. So we just kind of answered that one.
Exactly.
And then I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, so I apologize.
Lael.
Lael? Okay, Lael. All right.
Thank you for the question.
Oh, that's another one. Can you pick up things from a photograph? We're going to talk about it. Yep. And some people are better at it than others. But it's all about energy. It's not the actual physical picture. And last question from Marianne. I can communicate using a pendulum and rods with my guides and loved ones. But I would like to learn more about intuitive communication to hear and speak any guide. Okay. Again, the meditation.
The meditation.
Yep.
Guided meditation is...
Yeah. And we might do some more. Mari-Lyn does them with me. We might put some more on our website because they really are... Fred really brings it. He
really brings it.
It is. And the ones that are on there are really good. But he can really he can really they're everything all in one. Sometimes it's a shamanic journey, sometimes it's I don't even know, time travel. It's everything. So all right,
wow,
was that,
I think that was it.
all right,
fabulous questions.
Yes.
Oh.
So thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I
has.
hope we answered your questions as much as you wanted or liked or something like that.
We had fun.
Yes,
Hope
we
you
love
did
it.
too.
Yeah.
And
So never mind. Thank you so much for being here.
take care.
Bye.